29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What do you got to eat? Here, guys. Ooh. What's this say? I don't know. What's that say? I know, but I'm not gonna tell. I think it says it's good.
Conjecture Hoops contains all the presumptions, assumptions, and off-the-wall postulations a growing kid needs. Conjecture Hoops, a big bowl of bullshit. Saturday morning cartoons.
Now at night time.
Mostly conjecture based on little knowledge.
Please welcome Max Headshrew, Dell, Aria Blackness, and your most gracious host, Ben Motherfucking Jackson. Applause. Applause. Applause.
Hey!
There he is. Yes.
Nick, do me a
Yes.
favour.
Yeah.
Cross your arms. Cross your arms. Can you turn the fan up a bit?
The fan? Oh.
Yeah, I want to see it blow your hair with your arms crossed.
Yes.
Come on, son.
Let me get it. Let me get it. Oh.
I want 10 solid seconds. Go.
I'll just keep eye contact then, I guess. Do some of this.
Just tell us your favorite X-Files episodes.
My favorite X-Files episodes. Well, I have a bunch of them, but I will say that my favorite series or my favorite seasons are 1 through 3, and I just happen to have this insane.
Whoa!
I remember that.
Things
I remember
X-Files.
that being on the bookshelves. Back in
I
the
am.
90s.
I'm going to use that little bit of VT, and I'm going to put that in the beginning sequence instead of using a photo. It's time you had your own.
Great idea.
We need a new intro, man.
We need to cut down the 30 seconds thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
Yeah. The whole thing needs updating.
yeah. But yeah, so actually, unconnected. I'm a huge X-Files fan, as you can tell. Hold on, let me just.
Something told me that you would be.
Yeah, let me just
Oh, I knew.
pour my Red Bull into my mug here. Just get that real quick.
Oh, my battery's going.
I don't usually do this, but I felt like it was appropriate because I have this mug. Just gotta. I don't sell out. All right.
Oh, I'm being adopted.
Anyway, I found these 2 books in a bookstore recently, which is great.
Yeah.
I'm a huge X-Files nerd.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's all like, there's some X-Files novels out there, but this is all like character guides and fucking encyclopedia type stuff, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Somebody left notes in it, which is neat.
When I first watched X-Files, I thought it, when I was a little boy, I thought it was going to be an ongoing. I think for the entire series, because I was stupid, I thought it had an ongoing arc, and it didn't. It's just different stories every episode, and I got really confused. I didn't figure it out until about episode 7.
It's kind of bold.
That's not necessarily true.
There is an ongoing arc.
Yeah, there is.
But
There's like
not every episode.
there's a lot. Yeah, there's a big long, but it's not like episode to episode.
No.
Right.
I used to get really
Like,
confused. Yeah, I get really
On
confused at the
Wikipedia, there's an asterisk next to each episode that sort of follows the
Okay.
main story, and then
But
the
I
other
think
episodes are just.
at the time I was getting really confused as to why they, because they find not only does Mulder sort of discover aliens, he discovers loads of them, loads of different aliens. I thought it would all just be about one. Anyway, never mind. Hello, Rob.
Yeah, that's a great observation, Max. And I
Yeah.
had a similar commentary too, because you kind of are expecting an impact from the alien discovery, and there kind of isn't that.
Yeah.
And there's sort of over and over and over again contact with aliens, and it never really. I don't know. It's never really a moment where it's a transcendent thing. It seems like it's just a one-off.
Yeah,
each time.
even the movies are like that as well. They're just like big episodes.
Well, it's almost two series in one, because you have the overarching storyline, and then you have the Monster of the Week story.
Right.
But
Yeah.
they're almost, so what one sort of sticks to the original pitch of FBI agents who investigate the paranormal. The overarching storyline feels almost like a different show. It's much more of a thriller. It brings in conspiracy theories and sort of that JFK vibe to it, and much more action oriented. But the whole pitch, I guess, of the overarching storyline is something's going on. The government is hiding something from us, and it's Mulder and Scully's job to ascertain what it is that's going on.
Yeah.
Mulder
and Scully.
Are you
Mulder and
drawn?
Scully.
Are you guys drawn to this show because you know that the government is hiding things from you, or just because you think aliens are cool, or what is the?
I think when I first
okay.
watched it was because the aliens are cool. Because I was only a kid, you know.
What drew me in and made me a fan was realizing that there was this overarching story, and that's what brought me back, because I wanted to know what it all meant. I wanted to know who the cigarette smoking man was. I wanted to know where the goo came from. I wanted to know what the bees were all about.
The bees.
Yeah, the virus carrying bees. It was like a jigsaw puzzle to me.
Right.
This was, and the fact that it had an overarching storyline was the thing that really intrigued me when I was a teenager, because expecting it just to be episodic television and individual stories every week, to have a series that broke that formula. I see the X-Files as really being the bridging gap between the old way of doing television and the new way of doing television, where television moved very much from episodic storylines, self-contained stories every week, to treating the audience with as much more, recognizing that there will be hardcore fans of the series and giving something for them, rewarding an audience with sticking with a show, and having story threads that were established in series 1 paying off in series 5, rewarding the audience that way. Now of course long form storytelling is what every TV show does, but I'd argue that the X-Files was kind of the bridging gap between that. You look at Star Trek: The Next Generation; it's episodic storytelling.
Right.
There's
Nick, what were you going to say?
Twin Peaks, but the X-Files really took the ball and ran with it. So I've gone off on a tangent then.
That's all right.
No, that was good.
That was perfect.
In prep for this, I sent a link on Twitter of the 20 greatest episodes according to Empire.
Yeah.
So those are the episodes I watched because, like I said, some of the X-Files I've rewatched in recent years, but a lot of it I haven't seen since the 90s. So as a refresher, I watched these 20 episodes and the 2 films. So I don't know. I mean, do we want to talk about? I could bring up these episodes. We could talk
do it.
about them. Okay. Now I'm going to share my screen, and I haven't done this in a while. Is it right? Remind me. Is it? No, it's not settings.
I've only I the last couple of weeks. That's the only X-Files I've ever seen. I never watched it at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we suggested doing this, you said you'd never seen the X-Files before, had you, Ben?
No, I hadn't. So this is an initiation for me. I found the dynamic between the two characters. I mean, obviously, this is nothing new. This is not a very insightful comment. Oh, I like the two characters. They're now lead right. But it's a fun, I think, balance of personalities that I think really works, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Female, and Mulder is very believably male. You know, you've got this heaven and hell. You know, science versus intuition and insight kind of duality going on, and it really works, and I think it's well done.
And Gillian Anderson had quite big tits as well.
Yeah, she did.
Especially in season 2, because do you remember the arc in season 2? I don't know if you watch season 2, Ben. But she disappears for 4 episodes because she gets abducted by aliens.
Oh, I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
They wrote her out of the show, and do you know why they wrote her out of the show?
Because she was having a baby.
Yes. Yeah.
Ah.
Real
So
life having
if you watch the first third of the season 2, every shot of Scully she shot from the waist up because they couldn't film the bump, or from the back.
Oh, they should have had her like impregnated by aliens and had an alien
They did.
baby.
That happened later. Yeah.
But it turns out it's Mulder's baby, doesn't it?
Well,
not actually. I don't think so.
She gets IRL pregnant during the show twice. So during the second season, she gives birth to a kid and she's abducted. She's missing. That's the episode that Dwayne Barry. They go to fucking. Dwayne Barry is a multiple abductee, and he takes these people hostage. And Mulder is called in as a hostage negotiator for this specific incident because he's talking about aliens and shit. And they're like, "Oh well, bring in fucking spooky Mulder." So he fucking ends up taking him, kidnapping Scully and taking her to fucking what's the mountain? I can't remember the name of the mountain.
Whatever. Like the Devil's Peak, isn't it? A Devil's Mountain,
something like that. I don't know. That's not it. I can't remember. But whatever. Anyway, fucking he takes him to this place, and instead of taking Dwayne, they take Scully, and she's abducted and missing for a while. But yeah, she just had a kid, and then in season, it's like 6 or 7, Mulder disappears. But he got written out of the show because he didn't want to be on X-Files anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then fucking like throughout that whole interim between her being abducted and this point in the series, she's barren. Like she's been trying to have like taking tests to see if she can have kids and she can't, which was like a whole big thing for her because she wanted to be a mother and all this shit. And then Mulder disappears, and then all of a sudden, miraculously, Scully's pregnant. But they wrote that in because she was pregnant in real life.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just like,
I think it was actually
your
the cigarette smoking man's son, which I didn't understand if she was inseminated artificially or through rape.
artificially.
That wasn't clear.
Yeah, we are talking about the character and not the actress, right?
We're talking about
Yes.
both. Yeah, but CBG Spender, aka the Smoking Man. Funny story. He actually wasn't supposed to be in the show. In the pilot episode, he was written in. So, like, if you remember the scene where Scully gets called into the director's office, and
Yeah.
there's
He was
the line
waiting
there.
there.
They're explaining to Scully like what her assignment on the X-Files is going to be. The cigarette smoking man is in that scene, and he's just kind of hovering in the back, smoking a cigarette. He doesn't say anything, and that's all he was supposed to do originally. That was it. And then somehow he got written in later as like this mysterious, like dark figure, the cigarette smoking man.
And then they kept killing him, and then they kept deciding that they needed him to not be dead.
Well, he
Which
got
is weird because
assassinated once.
Yes.
The point is like it's like this Hydra shadow government thing. So it's like if you kill the main guy, there's this whole mechanism of guys, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other guys, but CBG Spender is special for a couple of reasons, and it comes out later that the cigarette smoking man had a very special relationship with Mulder's mother.
Right.
Yes.
In fact, isn't he his dad?
Yes. Yeah. He ends up being
He's everybody's dad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, he's Mulder's
forgot
dad,
that.
and he's also fucking he's the father of another FBI agent who he kind of like pulls his strings and ends up putting him on the X-Files. But this guy doesn't believe in the X-Files. It's fucking.
And the actor who plays his son also played the young cigarette smoking man in
Yes.
the episode "Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man."
Right.
Yeah, when he gets recruited out of special forces.
Yeah,
Well, it saves on casting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's
He
get
also,
back to
he also plays Scully when she gets pregnant for a third time. It's like when they replaced that character in Roseanne and everyone could tell.
Yeah, so
The
fucking
girl from Scrubs.
he ends up kind of shitting all over the X-Files. But there's a really cool scene, and this is before you learn that CBG Spender is Fox's dad, where this guy right here he's like being manipulated by the fucking the secret group where the cigarette smoking man is, and they're like giving him these positions and all this stuff. He like shits on Fox Mulder, and the cigarette smoking man smacks him across the face, and he's like, "You paled a Fox Mulder." I was like, "Damn!"
But Dad!
Dad, you suck. Shut up. Do what I tell you.
I wish I had a daughter.
That was the dialogue.
You paled a Fox Mulder. What a line.
I think
But that's of course because he knows that Fox is his son, but we
Yeah.
don't know that at that point.
Right, you don't know that throughout the majority of the series, and you keep wondering why Fox has been protected through all these times that he should have most definitely have been killed.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a nice little explanation for the plot armor. I appreciated it.
I think he's maybe my favorite character, CBG Spender. I'm glad you reminded me. They did reveal his name in the end. But the whole
Yeah, they
thing
did.
about the cigarette smoking man.
Wasn't it
Oh,
Carl
thanks.
Gerhard Bush?
That's the one, yes. I think Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man, it may be my favorite episode.
Oh, really?
because I like the peeling back of the layers. But also the thing I like about this is it's only the writers kind of have their cake and eat it, really, because although it's meant to be an exploration in the fourth season of the cigarette smoking man's past, it's one of the lone gunmen who's revealing this information, so it could all be an unreliable narrator.
Right.
It could be pure supposition, but it puts forward the theory that CBG Spender assassinated not only JFK, he was the second gunman on the grassy knoll, but Martin Luther King.
Oh, right.
That in his spare time he likes to write mystery novels, and that's really like sort of the arc to of his character, the key to his personality, that he's kind of locked into this role as a sort of shadow conspirator in the FBI and in the higher echelons of the US government. But really, he just wants to be a writer. Like, he's a failed writer, and that's.
Well, it's not only just that he's a failed writer; it's that the books that he's writing he's basically writing memoir. It's like his own adventures and the things that he's been doing, and he's been writing these stories, and he keeps submitting them to publishers for like years, and everybody shits on him.
Yeah, like, what a wild imagination you have, sir.
Yeah, like, wow, this is dumb. Like, these books fucking suck. And then there's like one episode, actually, where he's like writing a novel, and he sends a letter to a publisher, and he gets a letter back, and he's a little hesitant to open it because he's been shot down so many times. And he opens the letter, and the letter's like, man, we loved your book, blah, 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 give us a call. And he's like, okay, cool. So he calls them, and he's all excited. They're like, okay, you're gonna have to forfeit a couple of like creative things, but we're gonna publish your story in increments in this magazine. He's like, yeah, cool, sure. And like, you see this glimmer in him that he wants to get out of the environment that he's in, and he like types up his resignation. So it's like hinting that he wants to leave, he wants to do these other things, he wants to be a different person. He feels guilty for like the things that he's done. He's like potentially trying to find a father role with Fox Mulder because his perceived dad is dead. And he goes to a magazine stand and picks up the magazine with his book in it, and it's just totally fucked. And you see like all like the hope that he had in his eyes just like drain away, and he just fucking throws it on the ground and like lights up a cigarette, and he's just like, fuck it, and he just goes back to being a fucking scumbag.
Isn't he?
That's interesting.
2 years before the start of the series, and he's got like a nicotine patch on his neck, hasn't he? As soon as he reads the story, he tears it off and asks for a pack of Morleys. We all know Morley cigarettes, don't we? In the red and white box.
Well, he throws the Morleys away, and then fucking instead of buying the magazine, he buys a pack of Morleys.
This episode, it also contains one of my favorite pieces of writing in the entire series. I'm just going to read it. So it's just after that scene. He's depressed and dejected because they've bastardized his story, and he goes to sit on a park bench, and a tramp comes and sits next to him, and he just has this little monologue here that I'm going to read. Life is like a box of chocolates. A cheap, thoughtless, perfunctory gift that no one ever asks for. Unreturnable because all you get back is another box of chocolates. So you're stuck with mostly undefinable whipped mint crap, mindlessly wolfed down when there's nothing else to eat while you're watching the game. Sure, once in a while you get a peanut butter cup or an English toffee, but it's gone too fast and the taste is fleeting. In the end, you're left with nothing but broken bits filled with hardened jelly and teeth-shattering nuts, which, if you are desperate enough to eat, leaves nothing but an empty box of useless brown paper wrappers.
Wow.
Yeah, great piece of writing, I think, there.
I don't know what...
Some people spend their entire lives looking for earth-shattering nuts.
Rex, you ain't got to look too far, baby.
What I like about
that... I'm having some technical problems. All I heard is teeth-shattering nuts.
Yeah.
You hear what you want to hear.
Well, I don't know if it's worse to have teeth-shattering nuts or nut-shattering teeth.
Porque no los dos.
It has begun.
Why do you like that, Buddha? Why do you like that, Buddha?
Hang on. It
has begun.
Also, this.
What is that? What is that? What is it? Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah! Oh, my eyes! Eyes! Ah! Ah!
The bees.
Is that a bee movie?
Yeah.
That's the Wicker Man, not the good one.
Yeah.
Not the bees, not the bees.
I'll challenge you on
No,
that.
I
I
just
think
like
it's a
that.
Please
brilliant
give me the
book.
wasps.
Yeah, I think the Nicolas Cage version's better.
It's an inversion of the Forrest Gump moment, obviously, and
Yeah.
you know, Forrest Gump being the saccharine sweet bit of media iconography from the 90s, and the X-Files being the polar opposite of that, being the dark.
Listen, Forrest Gump can kiss my ass, right? Because you do know what you're going to get in a box of chocolates because it comes with that little card with what you're going to get on it.
It does not work as a metaphor.
No.
Now that's all I have to say
Now, if
about
it said, yeah, life is like receiving a box of chocolates if you're blind.
And you haven't ate a box.
My mum always said life is like receiving a box of chocolates if you've been poked in the eyes.
Yeah.
But where does it have the thing that says what they all are?
You open it up and there's usually a little card in it with all the chocolates written on with their flavours. Or if you turn the box upside down, like behind, they're all on the back.
Yeah.
I see.
Is that just an English thing, the card?
Yeah, maybe that's an American thing that they don't tell you what you're going to get.
Ah.
I don't think I've ever eaten a box of chocolates, actually.
I've never eaten one to myself.
From a box of chocolates before, I think. But usually they're fucking gross. That's the thing. It's like they don't fill it with a bunch of chocolates that are like accepted to be pretty good. There's always like a few of them that most people think are good, and there's a bunch of them that I think only a few people very far apart think are good.
Who eats strawberry chocolates? No one. No
I
one
will
eats.
eat chocolate covered
Rob,
strawberries.
you don't go out and buy. You don't go out and buy strawberry.
No,
chocolates.
you're right there. You're right there. I don't. But you know what? If they're in the box, fuck it, I'll eat them.
Yeah, but they're shit.
I
You're
agree.
the guy, Bob. You're the one guy. You're the one fucking it up for us all.
Yeah. Don't say that.
Fruit and chocolate
Cadbury's
together
listed-
should never.
It's really funny because like
never cross.
we don't buy chocolate often, and we bought two bars this week. One with 99% cocoa, and
Fucking
guess what
hell.
the flavor? Yeah, that's really like a Jim Carrey moment. And the other one, guess what the flavor is?
Cock.
Strawberry, dick.
Oh,
Cockberry.
So what else, Buddha? What are the other episodes that you think everyone should watch of the X-Files?
Well, okay. Well, these are the ones I watched, and
This is Tim when he chose Martin Luther
I'll
King.
be intrigued to hear Nick's take on some of these. So, apparently, according to Empire, the greatest episode of the X-Files of all time is the third one ever broadcast. Squeeze.
Which one is that?
Yeah.
Oh, is that
This is
Tunes?
Eugene Hooks the Tunes. Season 1, episode 3, first aired September the 24th, 1993. All about a serial killer. Oh, I've gone the wrong way. Serial killer who lives in a cocoon for 30 years and only emerges once every 30 years and needs to kill 5 victims and feeds on their liver. But he's also able to stretch and morph his way through the piping.
Yeah,
That's
he
how he
can
gets
fit
it.
into really tiny spaces, kind of.
Yes.
Do you agree? Is this the best X-File?
Yeah.
It's the most.
It's good.
It's
It
the
really
most
is really
memorable and iconic.
Yeah.
I think when if you ask a lot of people who watched the X-Files the first time around, I think a lot will say, "Oh, that's the one that drew me in."
Yeah, because it's like a mini 90s horror film.
Yeah.
This is it. I don't know. I've missed a lot today,
It's very
so I don't
accessible.
I know exactly what Buddha's already explained, but very often they refer to these one-off shows as the Monster of the Week,
Right.
MOTW shows. Yeah, and they are all like little horror movies, and that's cool. That's this is what we want.
I think Tombs in particular is Go on.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
they're referred to as genre episodes, which X-Files does really, really well.
Yes.
And there's other series since then that have picked it up. Like one of the most notable series that structures their show in almost exactly the same way as Supernatural. So X-Files was kind of the first series to do this, where, like we were talking about earlier, where they have an overarching theme that the protagonists are chasing, like, you know, government conspiracy or whatever, and then you have these pop-up genre episodes. Well, you'll notice that every single one of those episodes is like specific to a very certain type of filmmaking, like monster horror, sci-fi, like psychological stuff. Like there's never, it's very rare that any of them are blended. So it's usually a call to like a really specific movie or like something that the writer liked really, really well. And those are fun. I really like those. There's one in particular that I think is just super fucking goofy. It's I can't remember the name of the episode, but it's the episode with the Great Mutato, and it's all in black and white. And it fucking.
I think it's on here. And it's the one
it's got to be one of the most iconic for sure.
Oh, for sure. But it's like this deformed monster that goes around like impregnating women. There it is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the name of the episode. The Postmodern Prometheus, it's called.
Yeah, that's it. But it's just so...
it's such a memorable title as well.
Yeah.
It has the worst ending though, of any episode.
Yeah, it's terrible, but it's so funny.
Because here, they're at a share gig.
Yeah,
take the monster
the fucking
Cher because he's a fan.
The Great Mutato's thing is he loves Cher. Let's just fucking right. But the monster has like this whole monologue.
I was walking in Memphis.
Yeah. But
it's not even Cher as well. It's somebody.
It's
with
like a rape monster. What? Just a real rapist monster. And it likes Cher.
Yeah, kind of. You'll have to watch it, but it's fucking. It makes fun of all kinds of fun shit, like fucking like really shitty fucking like sci-fi horror from the 50s. And it has like all like the fucking iconic lighting, the way that it's done, and
it's just all in black and white. The entire episode. I think that's the big novelty.
The only one, in fact.
Yes, which I guess is to. That's to do with the comic book elements of it. The fact that these characters keep seeing this monster and they turn him into a comic book character.
Yeah, and then at the very end, there's a couple of comic book panels with fucking Scully and Mother in it. But so I wanted to ask you guys, especially the guys that are more familiar with X-Files, like X-Files is also really known for having a bunch of like people appear on the show that were either in other notable films or were on X-Files and would go on to become really famous.
Yeah, I've got two. I've
got one.
Well, let's see how many of them match. All right. All right. How are we going to do this?
Go ahead, Rob.
All right. Okay, the first one is Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
Ryan Reynolds, isn't it? Yeah. Before he gets his teeth fixed.
Who gets killed in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's Jack Black.
There is Jack Black.
Who also
gets killed towards the end.
Mine was the guy that plays Shere Khan in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Actually, I'll tell you what he's in. He's like I'm sure he's an alien. He looks really funny. He's like the big dude, the sort of Arnie looking dude. And he was in the first Terminator film as one of the punks. Do you know what I mean?
No,
yeah.
Is it the tall, freaky, bald guy with a beard?
Is it? No.
No, he guest stars in a shitload of episodes because he's the alien bounty hunter.
That's it, yeah.
Oh, right. The guy with a really like
with the jowls.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, I have like you ever had the Mandela effect?
Who is this guy? I gotta see the guy. Someone show me the guy.
I'm trying to think who the most unusual cameo in the series. Jerry Springer's in one, I'm sure.
I'll find.
I had this really strong Mandela effect. You know, where you remember something from years ago, and then later, like you rewatch a movie and you think, "Hang on a sec, that's not how I remembered it." and it was the fact that that guy with the jowls. I thought he was Krychek, and Krychek's another character.
Right.
See, I've binge watched it 3 times already.
I'm gonna
But I still
share.
can't remember the name of the bounty hunter.
Krychek's a young guy. I saw an episode last night with Brad Dourif, who's the voice of Chucky. He's in the season 1 episode Beyond the Sea. If you want cameo.
So-
Say again.
Brad Dourif, who's the voice of Chucky, and he's also Grima Wormtongue in.
When
The
you
Lord of
say
the Rings.
the voice of Chucky, you don't mean Chuck E. Cheese, right?
No.
Shit, I didn't mean to do that. Ah,
Whoa.
that's not right.
I'm getting
There we
thinner now.
I'm trying to share. Why would it fucking share?
Are you going to
Is it
show me
'cause
the man
I'm-
with the jowls?
Yeah.
I stop sharing. Try it now.
Can you see it?
Yeah, BTEC Guide to Quality Assurance, I can see, yeah.
Yeah.
This is your homework.
That was my assignment. Shit.
Yeah, self-porno folders.
Him.
Uh-huh.
This guy.
I still can't see anything.
You can't see anything.
No.
Well, we still
I
see
can-
your desktop.
Yeah,
Oh, you can just see my desktop. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see user space downloads, buddy.
Yeah, they're all. No, it's all right. They're all still shit for my assignment. Self-reflection. Yeah, it's me being a fucking trainee teacher. Hang on. Let me just share screen.
Is it this guy?
Yeah, you're gonna have to do it because mine won't do it for some reason.
Is this the guy?
I can't see anyone.
Buddy, you should find a picture of him and share it.
Who am I looking for?
The fucking alien bounty hunter.
Alien bounty hunter.
Oh
From
my god, are we still on that?
Yeah,
Is this him? Is this the guy with the big jowl?
Yes.
That's him. That's
Found
him.
him.
And that's the voice of Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, that guy.
Is it? Look! Look at the black and white one. That's Shere Khan from Mortal Kombat.
Hell yeah, dude.
Oh, okay.
It's such a bad
What
film.
is going on with those?
Oh
jowls
yeah,
anyway? I mean,
that.
yeah.
He's got big and
No.
scissors, dude.
He got scissored.
Hell yeah.
What?
He was one of the punks that Arnie takes out. Yeah, he is one of the
Yeah.
punks that Arnie takes out.
He
in the
fucking
first
punches
film.
him through the fucking gut,
Yeah.
and he ends up wearing his
How old is he?
clothes. Wash day today. Nothing clean. Nothing
Right.
clean.
Oh, yeah, that is him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that one. Nothing clean, right?
So what does he do in the X-Files? He's a bounty hunter?
He's
He's
an
an
alien
alien
bouncer.
He's actually in one
Yeah, I
of my
haven't got
favorite
to his
episodes.
episodes.
Uses a retractable ice pick.
Yeah, well, it's the only thing that can kill the aliens by stabbing him in the base of the neck. But he's in one of my favorite episodes. I don't know the name of it. If you want the name of it, I'll find it really quickly. But it's an episode.
And he's an alien?
Yeah.
He's an alien. He's a shape-shifting alien bounty hunter. So he recurs in the show like a fucking shitload of times. Sometimes he appears as someone else. He's portrayed Mulder before. He just shapeshifts as need be to suit his needs. But
Once he shapeshifted into a pregnant Scully.
no, I don't think so.
So, like, are Mulder and Scully a couple? Or did they just have a kid and get rid of it?
Yeah, they're a couple of FBI agents.
They
Right.
do get together towards the end.
Yeah, towards the end. So Chris Carter deliberately was like, I am never going to compromise the platonic love that Scully and Mulder have because it's just so good on screen. And he felt like involving them romantically would kind of muddy the show. And I agree with that. But they eventually got together like towards the end of the series. And then Mulder just like there's It's like the last episode of season like 8 or something. It's like fucking Scully and Mulder finally are like, okay, we have feelings for each other and we're gonna kiss, and we're like, all this stuff is gonna happen. And then literally David Duchovny was like, I'm done with the show. And then they had to write him out of the show. It's gone. So it's like this whole, like, all of this like tension. Finally, they're like, yeah, we love each other. Like, we're out with it. It's fucking, we have this kid, like fucking William, who's like a product of like this alien insemination thing. I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. We're just going to figure it out. We're going to be together. And then fucking, like, Mulder's just gone. And they don't know, like, in the show, they're just like, he's just gone. Like, they didn't give any reason. They're like, yeah, he just bolted. He's just out. Like, fucking, nobody knows why. They didn't even bother.
There
They don't know. That's the thing. They're like on the hunt for him. But like fucking, they're like, nobody knows why Mulder is gone. And then there's like all these strange, mysterious communique that come through that are allegedly from Mulder. Yeah, all this weird shit happens. But
then Mulder comes back on the show, does he not?
Later, yeah. But they didn't know that was going to happen. There was so much like real life stuff going on that influenced the way X-Files ended up being written.
I see.
But anyway,
this
episode
X-Files famous for
X-Files. Say what?
He wanted to do the film Extinction. You all remember that?
Yeah, I like that film actually. It didn't do terribly well, but I liked it.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not a bad film, but it's not it's not really one that anyone talks about much.
Well, we're talking about it now.
Yeah, I brought it up for the first time in 20 years.
I did think about it. I'm sure me and you went to see that together.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm so glad I don't remember that.
That was yeah.
The director of
that was the old times.
Well, it's Pride Month now, man. Did you guys kiss?
Did you share a large popcorn? One of you
right on Max's lap.
In the bottom of the bag.
Did I understand?
No, we went straight to sex.
Did I understand correctly that Scully is pregnant for the second time in the last episode?
No, she's not pregnant. She's already had her kid by that point. Mulder
she doesn't remember. She doesn't remember.
But at the very end of the last episode of all, Mulder's like, "Oh, if I'm not a dad, then I don't know what I am," and she goes, "No, Mulder, you are a dad." And he's like, "What?" He's like,
no, I don't
pregnant again. Did I hallucinate? That didn't happen. I remember that.
I think verbatim, it's like she says, or he says, "Who's your daddy?" Or am I thinking of Californication?
So there's an episode that I wanted to talk about called The Unnatural. And it's season 6, episode 19. So it's well into the show. But the episode takes place in 1990 when Mulder is just discovering the X-Files. Because if you remember Mulder's career a little bit, 1989 was the year that he made a profile for this serial killer who actually ends up making an appearance later. I can't remember his name, but anyway, that was like his
guy who's played by the Chucky actor, isn't it?
Oh yeah. So he ends up making whatever. Anyway, it's like Mulder's first year on the X-Files, which he didn't make the X-Files. He discovered the X-Files. The X-Files were made in the 50s. And by a couple of guys, one dude in particular named Arthur Dale. So there's two brothers, Arthur Dale and Arthur Dale. And Mulder goes to talk to Arthur Dale, but ends up talking to Arthur Dale, his brother.
Together they make a full Dale.
Yeah, they make a full Dale. But the whole episode takes place in the 50s. In the 40s, like outside of Roswell, and it follows a African American baseball league team called the Grays, which was actually a real team. They existed back in the day, but the whole premise is that there's this one player on the team who's just exceptional. Like he's like the Yankees are trying to scout for him to get him into the league. Like he's fucking just knocking fucking home runs out in the park. Whenever the scouts come around, he like fouls a ball or just like fumbles or deliberately. He just wants to stay in this league. And like all these like white supremacists in the area are trying to fucking like they put out a bounty on this guy. They're like trying to kill this dude. So this officer from the Roswell Police Department is assigned to escort the team, Arthur Dales. So the whole episode is Mulder sitting in Arthur Dale's apartment, and Arthur Dale's is recalling all this stuff, but then obviously it's played through the episode
Flashbacks.
Yeah, so there's a couple of like instances during it where like Mulder stops. He's like, hold on, wait, tell me what's going on here. He's like, is this about a man who is hypothetic, like metaphorically an alien, or an alien that is metaphorically a man, or literally a human alien hybrid? And the guy's like, bro, just listen to the fucking story. Like, he's like, you don't know.
Enjoy your Werther's originals and let me get on with it.
But I really like this episode because it's like about this alien who rebels from the colonization plan to just play baseball. Like he discovers baseball and he's like, man, this is fucking cool. And like he just it's fun, dude. It sounds goofy, but it's like
I know the episode, but I like the way you're explaining it.
And this was like Mulder's first year on the X-Files.
Yeah, and Arthur Dales finds out that this guy's an alien on accident, but he like accepts it. He's like, okay, and starts talking to him. He's like, why did you do it? Like, what is it about it? And he's just like, man, I just fell in love with this sport. And these two guys, establish this like really close relationship, and they're like going around, fucking doing all this stuff. Well, the alien bounty hunter impersonates the alien on the baseball team and kills this guy to get some like evidence back from him that had like the alien blood on it. And so the police think that the baseball player has committed this murder and they're coming to get him or whatever, but Arthur Dales like lets him go. And at the end of the episode, the bounty hunter finds the other alien and like stabs him in the back of the neck. Now the alien blood is like poisonous to humans. Like you can't breathe it. There's a bunch of different times in the X-Files where people are exposed to it and your eyes get all fucked up and it can kill you.
That's the black goo, yeah.
Right. No. The black goo is something else. Their blood is green. So fucking Arthur Dales comes running up because he sees the guy stab him. And the guy's like, no, don't touch me. Our blood is like acid to you, but then it's just regular blood. Right. And fucking, so he's like transformed into a man, like in his last act. And like the final scene is like Arthur Dale's in that moment, like holding him as his friend is passing away in his arms. And then it fades to Arthur Dale sitting on his couch with Mulder, like looking up, and like the camera like fades out. And it's just like, man.
So the alien transforms into a human body with human blood?
Is it a man who's metaphorically an alien? Is it an alien who's metaphorically a man, or literally an alien human hybrid?
Because he had, okay, that's really cool. Because he had communion with the humans. So then his body changed into being one of them. There's that question of like, what's the difference between a hybrid and a synthesis of two things?
Well, one of the questions that Arthur Dales asks Mulder while he's telling the story is, do you believe that love can transform a man? And Mulder's like, well, women change men all the time. He's like, I ain't talking about women. He's like, I'm talking about love.
I'm talking about men.
Yeah. But really really cool points in that episode, and it's it doesn't have X-Files like, we're running around chasing shit, and it doesn't have like the fear element of the unknown and all this stuff. It's kind of more of a feel good episode.
Sure.
And it's a really good one, man. I really like that one.
Yeah,
that one's called Travelers.
The Unnatural.
The Unnatural, yeah.
Unnatural.
Could I? Could you share my screen? Because there's an episode I wouldn't mind just.
Fun fact: David Duchovny wrote that episode.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Oh yeah, remember seeing his name in the writing credits.
I thought you were going to say in the credits.
No, I mean that.
Right, as a writer.
I mean, back in the day, I can remember seeing his name in the writing credits. So yeah, he did always And if you're
Ice, that was a cool episode. Did you guys see?
Oh
Oh,
God, I remember that one
yeah.
with Bryan Cranston. Oh
Oh,
God.
oh well, we can talk about both of these. Okay, so
Yeah, those are cool.
So Drive is from
Back in a
season
minute.
6, episode 2, aired November the 15th, 1998, and this is interesting. I think simply because this episode is essentially the pilot episode for Breaking Bad, because it was written by Vince Gilligan, who would later go on to create Breaking Bad. And so, if you remember when Breaking Bad started, everyone was like, "What? It's a drama series, but it's starring the goofy dad from Malcolm in the Middle." Well, the reason Bryan Cranston was cast and Vince Gilligan fought for the casting of Bryan Cranston over the likes of, I think the network wanted to cast like John Cusack or Matthew Broderick in the role. He said, no, Bryan Cranston, he's the guy. I wrote this role for him on the X-Files. Well, not for him, but I cast him in this role years ago, in which he played, on paper, not a terribly nice character. So the plot of the episode is this character, he's been exposed to some government experiment, which means that if he has to remain
In motion.
going in motion at a certain speed, and if he doesn't, his head explodes.
Oh, it's like that movie with Jason Statham, Crank.
It is. Well, I mean, it's essentially Speed with a sci-fi twist.
Can I interject and do my Homer Simpson? We were watching that movie with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves. We were in a bus, and the bus kept going at a certain speed. And
Oh,
if
yeah,
the bus
that
went
movie.
underneath this speed, there was a bomb on the bus, so they had to maintain this speed. And if they went slower than this speed, the bomb would explode. I think the film was called "The Bus That Couldn't Slow Down."
So Bryan Cranston played this character who, on paper, isn't a very nice character. He's kind of bigoted, and he makes some anti-Semitic remarks to Mulder because he thinks he's Jewish. But he said, but despite not being a terribly nice character on paper, Bryan Cranston was able to play him with empathy. You actually liked the character, and you felt sorry for him by the end of the episode. And so he said that was the quality he needed for the character of Walter White, because he needed somebody who would do abhorrent things throughout the series, but you would still empathize with that character, and he knew that Bryan Cranston was the guy off the back of this episode. So that's an interesting episode, just because for what it brought to the TV landscape, really. And then what do we? Oh yeah, Ice. It was the other one. That was number 9. Ice. I mean, Ice is the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, this is my favourite one.
Season 1, episode 8, first aired November
Yeah, this is
5th,
my favorite
1998.
episode for sure.
Yeah.
Good choice, Ben.
There was a Doctor Who episode that was on the same idea, that all the characters went really neurotic and thought that each one of the others was wanting to kill them, and the Doctor thought that, and this was right in the back of the early days. So I guess season one, maybe season 2, and I think it was the episode "The Edge of Destruction." So it was one of the really early ones with William Hartnell, and it was on pretty much the same thing, that nobody trusted each other. So,
well, I mean, the base Under Siege formula it's a staple of science fiction. It's been, I mean, Doctor who's reused the idea and reused it so many times. But I guess it stems from the Thing from Another World short story.
100%.
It's which it was the basis for the film version being made as The Thing.
They're remaking
Actually,
that as well. They're remaking A Thing from Another World.
actually, I have this encyclopedia right here, and they're talking about. So I'm flipping through each episode as you're bringing it up if it's within the first 3 seasons. And this episode always reminded me of The Thing, but according to the encyclopedia here, we're all learning together. The episode Ice was inspired by an article in Science News about a group of scientists in Greenland drilling into 250,000-year-old ice. And the Greenland Ice Project drilled into the ice and pulled up worms that were frozen, and they came back to life.
Yes.
So they were like, "Oh, cool! What if these fucking worms got into you and made you fucking insane?"
What if these worms got into you? Can we quote that?
That's what they do. That's what literally happens in an episode. Reading this article, like Chris Carter's just like, "Oh, worms! What if they got under your skin?"
Oh, okay. It's just this vision of like worms getting into you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's worms that live inside people, you know.
Oh, hey, look, how interesting. The entire Arctic complex is created by production designer Graham Murray, who worked on John Carpenter's remake of The Thing.
Yeah.
What I love about one of the things I love about the X-Files is the way that Canada stands in for any location they care to wish. So I mean, you see at the start and the end of the episode, they're supposed to be in the Arctic, aren't they? And they've got the big coats on and they're doing shivering acting. It's obviously just, you know, out in the sticks somewhere outside Ontario or somewhere. There's not a flake of snow in the air.
Yeah.
It's green entirely behind them. It's even funnier though when they try and double Canada. So, I know.
Ooh, it's kind of cold out there, ain't it?
Well, there was one that I watched the other night with Luke Wilson, and I think it's supposed to be set in Georgia or somewhere or the South, but it's so obviously Canada in the winter. It's Mulder's got his brolly up, and there's rain in the air. There's not a leaf on any of the trees. It just looks so drab and dreary. And you think, this isn't Georgia.
That show, the episode Ice, was shot completely inside. They didn't do any shots outside.
Yeah, it's all in the facility, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a dog in the outside?
It was inside.
It was inside outside. Just like the worms.
Yeah.
The base is entirely a set. You can see that. Yeah.
I understand now. Yeah. Inside, outside, like Nick said.
Yeah. Inside, outside. Dude, speaking of inside, outside stuff, this is off topic, but I want to just make a small note because it's on my mind. The set stuff that they used for The Mandalorian. Did you guys see that shit?
I watched the recent series of The Mandalorian, yeah.
Okay, so the way they shot those inside outside shots is that they have a fucking dome, right? It's a big ass fucking dome that the actors stand in, and the cameras are linked up to the screens on the dome. So if the camera moves, the environment moves on the screens. So you set the environment on the screens and you're like walking through it as the camera pans, and then the background shifts like in real time. And that's why the fucking lighting looks so good on everything in there. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
That last season pissed me off now.
All right, I'm gonna mention one of my most memorable episodes.
Go on, then.
All right. Okay, it's the one that's really fucked up. It's the one with the hillbillies and the deformed hillbillies.
That's in here.
Yeah, of course. And it turns out that those hillbillies are fathering their own brothers with their mom, who's basically a stump.
Yeah, didn't they stop airing this one?
Yeah,
I think they did because of the idea of incense.
The episode's called
Incense?
Incest.
They didn't like fragrances.
Oh, fuck. Sorry. I'm tired. Incest. Yeah.
It's all right.
Why
Yeah,
does
I
shagging
don't
your
know.
sister smell so good?
Oh god. What was the name of this episode?
Home.
Why does
Oh
smashing
yeah,
my sister
home,
smell so good?
home.
Yeah, that
First
episode
aired
is fucking
October
gross.
the
But it's
11th,
good.
96. Yeah, this is. I do remember it being
Yeah.
a small controversy this episode when it was first aired. In the
Yeah, I
90s.
remember kids
People
talking
thought
about it at school the next day.
Yeah, saying it was a bit intense, that one.
Yeah.
Because you watch it now and you wonder what all the fuss is about. But yeah, back then.
What's that? Was that like sons impregnating their own mother to produce their own like misformed
Yeah.
brothers? And you're
Yeah.
wondering what's the fuss about? What did
Yeah.
you say, brother?
Well, we all do that now, don't we?
Well, it wasn't only that. It wasn't. It
I don't
wasn't
know what
just the
I just,
inbreeding.
I
They
yeah, I
were-
What
just mean.
you grew up on.
What else was it?
Yeah, but you.
Go
They
on,
were
Nick.
fucking cutting body parts off the mother to eat.
Right.
Yeah, but if you watch something like American Horror Story now. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
it's-
for sure. Where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna fuck in all these people's blood," and that's totally cool because Lady Gaga's in it. But like,
Yeah.
X-Files, it's a little incest, and it's.
That's just the way TV's gone. It's all the X-Files' fault.
X-Files did it better.
Yeah,
For sure.
I
There's
do.
another episode called Blood, and it's the episode where Mulder goes to investigate all these like allegedly unconnected killings that happen in a small Pennsylvania town in a really short period of time. And you get a shot of each of the killers, and like each one of them experiences these hallucinations where they're seeing instructions on LCD screens telling them to kill people. But it has William Sanderson in it, which is the guy who plays J.F. Sebastian in Blade Runner, which is pretty cool. And he does a phenomenal job. But it ends up being like this shadow pharmaceutical company is spraying this pesticide around, but the pesticide is laced with LSD or something similar to it, and it's giving people these hallucinations. And fucking like Mulder ends up starting to get him like on his phone, fucking and all kinds of neat shit. But pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
Seth Green is also in the X-Files.
Oh, Seth Green, yeah, God, yeah.
Yeah, Seth Green's in it.
That.
Fucking,
Hang on. Ben looks terrifying.
lurking in the shadows.
Ben, you look actually it looks kind of like a replicant right now.
I look
Yeah.
what?
You look terrifying. It's all you're all in darkness.
I look what? Terrifying?
Yeah. You having issues?
I don't
mate?
know why I look terrifying.
Well, because you got no light behind you.
Oh,
Yeah, all your face
Yeah.
is in shadow.
oh, I see.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. The Seth Green episode is where they, Seth Green and his girlfriend, they go to they sneak into an airbase to watch UFOs land.
Yeah.
Ah, right. Seth Green.
That's a really young Seth Green, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Really young.
Seth Green
Yeah,
feels
also,
like
that
he's been
episode
around
with Jeff
forever.
Black,
He
the guy
still
who
looks
stars in
like
this
he's
episode as the antagonist, he also ends up playing. He plays the medic. I can't remember his name in Saving Private Ryan.
Is it?
Yeah,
Was he? I don't remember that.
yeah.
He
Yep.
still looks
I
about 12, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
gotta be
I love
Seth
Seth Green in. Oh, sorry, brother.
No, I was just saying he's got to be about 50 now, Seth Green, but
Probably,
he
yeah.
still looks about 12. He's the
Yeah.
Lucky duck.
he's
Yeah.
the Michael J. Fox of our
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Another interesting fun fact about characters that obviously in the later seasons, I think starting in season 7 or 8, Robert Patrick takes over as Scully's primary, partner at the FBI.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right. So Robert
I've seen
Patrick,
very little of the Robert.
yeah,
Patrick
as you know,
episode.
plays fucking in Terminator 2 as the
Terminator
T-1000.
2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's an episode where there's a guy who's being charged for the murder of his wife, and he's in jail. And for him, time is going. He goes through a day like it's Friday. He goes through Friday, but then when he wakes up, it's Thursday, and then he goes through Thursday, and then it's Wednesday, and he goes through Wednesday, and then it's Tuesday.
Right.
But the guy who is in jail is a prosecutor, and that guy is played by the same guy who plays the scientist that they try to murder in T2.
Dyson.
Like, yeah,
Miles Dyson.
same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's sort of like Robert Patrick was like, "Hey, I know this guy."
It's like a little nod to. That's cool.
Small trivia question: how many movies did Robert Patrick cameo in as T-1000?
Fucking hell.
He's in Wayne's World.
Wayne's World.
He's in Wayne's World. Yeah, that's one of them.
Last Action Hero.
Yeah, that's the one, man. It's a split second. He fucking walks out of the precinct as they're walking in. Good one, Max.
He's in that movie?
Yeah,
Yeah, for like
2 seconds.
Yeah, he's like an extra almost.
Yeah.
How much did he get paid for
into
that?
the police precinct and he's walking out. And the kid's like, "Hey, did you see that?" Arnold's like, whatever.
That's a good film, man. I like Last
I
Action
love
Hero.
that fucking movie. We should do that one.
Yeah,
let's do
underrated
that.
movie, yeah.
I mean, we already did. Did we already do Arnold Schwarzenegger movies? But
we didn't really go over that one very much. Did we?
Yeah, but The Last Action Hero is a 2.5 hour long movie almost.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's a while, but it's great. It's really good.
What's his name? Who plays the bad guy?
Charles Dance.
Charles Dance. I love him.
Yeah.
He's in X-Files.
He's funny as fuck in that film.
I can't remember, like,
Yeah,
I'm
Ian
sure
McKellen is
X-Files,
the
he's
Reaper,
in
isn't
X-Files also.
Yes.
I remember. He plays a serial killer. Oh, what's the episode called?
Charles Dance.
He plays a serial killer that cuts out the little fucking hearts out of the kids' cloth, out of their clothes.
Oh, God, yeah.
He convinces Mulder that he abducted his sister and murdered her. It's like Paper Hearts or something like that. But Mulder goes through this whole rigmarole with this dude and ends up fucking blasting him in the head at the last episode. Or the last second. Yeah, it was great. That's my favorite superpowers is remembering who the fucking X-Men was.
How was the Samantha story arc tied up in the end? I can't remember. It turns out she's dead.
Turns out she's dead. Yeah. So there's one episode where they're doing a series of like mass child like abductions, and this psychic gets brought on whose son also went missing, and leads Mulder on this path to pursue like all these different things. And that's the episode where they find out that CBG Spender had actually kept Samantha with him and Agent Spender in a house on an airbase. They find her diary and they like track her, like, where she went across the country and where she was as a runaway, and they track her like she was at this hospital and then ended up getting picked up. And then they go to like that nurse's house who processed her fucking forever ago, and somehow she remembers this. I wouldn't remember that shit, but and then Mulder has like a vision, like he walks across the street and he has a vision like with all these kids in this field and Samantha's among them. And
yes.
Yeah. But there's a whole bunch of other shit that happens. Like they took her DNA and cloned her, and then there was like one of the clones comes back and tries to convince Mulder that like, "Oh, I'm your sister and I've come back," but really it was like the clones trying to save themselves from the alien colonizers, and it's just all this other shit.
That was an earlier episode.
That was an earlier episode.
Yeah. I remember watching the final episode of season 9. I think a lot of people a lot of the general viewing public had gone off the show by then, which is why it was brought to an end. But it kind of annoyed me over the years that people kept saying, "Oh yeah, the X-Files, Mulder and Scully, they search for the truth, they search for answers every week, but they never found any." I was like, no, yeah, they did. It's all wrapped up neatly in the final episode. If you just care to watch it, it's the cigarette smoking man explains everything with his little tracheotomy thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they do discover that just ends up not being entirely quantifiable, like according to Scully's standards. But Scully, if you notice, one of the frustrating things about this fucking show is that like Mulder sees all this shit, and Scully just always happens to be looking the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the movie,
these fucking aliens are like walking by with top hats, like da 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 da. Scully's like, look at that shit over there. And Mulder's like, Scully, for the love of fuck, will you just look at this? And she's like, Mulder. And they're like, da, 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 and just Scully never sees it.
But
the Brits will get this, but there was a Kit Kat advert with pandas. The Kit Kat advert with pandas on roller skates. Like there's a guy waiting to photograph them outside the panda enclosure. Anyway, he's waiting. And then he turns around, breaks open a Kit Kat, and the pandas come out like dudes like skating, dancing, all this kind of. And then as soon as he turns around, boom, they've gone.
But Scully would have a rational explanation for the pandas.
But it also, like, there's one episode, there isn't really a whole lot. This is like one of my loose theories. There isn't a whole lot to support it past this episode, but there's one episode where they go to investigate some missing persons in the Brown Mountains, which is here in North Carolina. They go to investigate a missing persons case in the Brown Mountain area, which is here in North Carolina. So there is a real life phenomenon there known as the Brown Mountain Lights, which has been long reported as some strange UAP activity. And it's like this light phenomenon that occurs in the Brown Mountain area where you just like see these lights like zipping around and shit. But they go to investigate these missing people because they're fucking like they've only been missing for like a few weeks or like a week or two, and then their remains turn up and they're all skeletal, like just no flesh on them whatsoever. So they go to investigate, and it turns out that there is this like fungal network there that has these spores, like these mushrooms that you step in them, and it disperses these spores, and when you inhale them, you start to hallucinate. You pass out, and then the fungal organism pulls you into the ground and basically digests you. But while you're being digested, you hallucinate, but you think that you're just going like through regular life. And then the hallucination starts to fall apart as you're being digested. Well, in that episode, they get out, but they don't actually get out. And then they have to get out a second time where they actually really get out. But part of me is like, did they? Like maybe the entirety of the X-Files is just like a combination of Mulder hallucinations, and they didn't get out of Brown Mountain. And they just got, that's like where the X-Files actually ends.
It's not the despair.
Well, that would explain.
I was going to say the despair squid.
Yeah.
They brought it first.
Yeah.
Say what?
That would explain why Scully doesn't notice things that Mulder does, because that's not her hallucination.
Well, she actually, in his hallucination, they find a real alien, and Scully is like, oh my God, Mulder, you were right this whole time, and Mulder's like key that he's in a hallucination was like, why aren't you questioning me? He's like, I don't see why you're buying this. He's like, I don't get it. That was like,
I see.
Yeah, one of his keys out, but that doesn't mean that the hallucination can't refine itself, you know.
Nick, what's your take on the movies? Because I watched them. I gave them both a rewatch. I hadn't seen either of them since they first came out. I think the first one came out in '98 and the second one in 2008. And I found on the rewatch that my opinion of them hadn't differed from the first time around. I remembered liking the first one. I gave it a rewatch and I thought, this is pretty solid. It holds up. I gave the second one a rewatch last night, and it is fucking dreadful.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. I want the X-Files. I want to believe it's so bad. The second
Is that
one.
the one with Billy Connolly in it?
Yes. So the first.
Right, yeah, but Billy Connolly plays convicted child offender, a paedophile.
Yeah.
There's
He's a
all these
convicted child
little
offender.
social
He
issues.
offends children.
Child offender.
I don't
You know
know
what?
what the hell I
Mickey
wanted
Mouse.
to say. I
You
want
wanted
to
to
sleep.
say he's a convicted Schofield.
Dora the Explorer
Oh.
sucks.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh's for nerds.
Yeah, it's like there was these social issues because it touches. There's this like B plot for Scully where she's left the FBI and she's back in medical practice and she's having to perform an operation on a dying child, and she's going against the parents' will, and there's all this ethical drama. But you think this is the X-Files. Who cares about ethical dramas about relating to child's, stem cell research and child welfare? Who cares about the social issues of
Yeah, because Scully and Mulder have done whatever they
children
feel
Catholic Church?
necessary. Yeah, that's Scully and Mulder's MO is they go against the fucking rules all the time to do what they feel is what needs to be done. So,
Yeah.
At this point,
So I've been like,
There
okay,
was
this is what needs to happen to
there's all
save
this
this kid's
stuff-
life, so go fuck yourself.
Yeah, well, there's all this stuff about organ harvesting in it. And literally, like the only supernatural element in the whole thing is the fact that Billy Connolly's character is psychic. It's almost like they had to crowbar that in somewhere to have some sort of supernatural element.
I'm sure that came as part of the package. I don't think that was like an afterthought or anything.
It's such a bad
Otherwise-
script. It's like, I don't know who signed off on this script because I'm literally like it ended. I was like, oh, it's over. Like, I didn't. There was like no resolution to anything either.
Max,
The girl gets kidnapped. They find the kidnapper.
Say again.
Max, are we supposed to be seeing your screen right now?
Yeah, I'll just put it up. I'll just put it up while I draw.
Oh, okay. So I
Yeah,
thought maybe
yeah.
you were getting some fucking unauthorized sneak peeks here.
All right. So
These
which
are authorized sneak
These are
peeks.
all authorized. What do you reckon? What do you think, Nick, so far?
Well,
Good.
so the first
Great
X-Files movie came out in between
Yes.
2 seasons. It was like I think it was like season 6 or 7. I think it might have been season 6. It was like between season 6 and 7. The first X-Files movie comes out, and it's Fight the Future, and it closes up the whole bee conspiracy, like the fucking bees being the carrier for the alien virus and all this stuff. And there's like this whole fucking scene where they end up on a spaceship, and like Scully is of course unconscious for all of this.
Scully, wake up! Look
He
at
falls
this! Look at
unconscious
this!
over his shoulder, and there's aliens running around at his feet, and he's carrying her through this spaceship, and she's just happens to be knocked out. And then they end up on the ice, and the fucking spaceship takes off. But it's really important that you see this movie because it is integral to the series, like the overarching story of the series. Like if you don't see the movie, you'll just end one season and start the next, and the next season starts with Mulder in a fucking review board of them talking about all the incidents that happened in the movie. And you're like, I don't remember any of this shit.
Yes, I
really
did.
gotta
I
know
went
where
on
it's
to the next
from.
series without watching the film, and that's exactly how I felt. I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
But you know where it should go because there's a recap at the start of the episode with footage from the movie. So if you watch the recap and go, oh, I haven't seen that footage. I haven't
You're
seen
just like,
slightly
those
better shot
episodes.
footage with expensive looking CGI before. Oh, this must be where the movie goes. I
You don't know there's
really like the first film. I think it's although it slots into the series, you can watch it as a standalone story. It is basically a story about an FBI agent who goes in search of evidence for aliens and ends up face to face with a flying saucer. I mean, that's basically the plot of the film.
Yeah,
Right.
it's still good by itself.
So it
It's a
works
good
as and it's a good looking movie. It's got great production design. It starts with I think in 35,000 BC with 2 Neanderthals encountering an alien and getting clubbed to death by the alien. The alien looks really good. It's really scary. I think that film holds up. It's got a big exploding building at the start. You know, they obviously it's the complaint at the time was, I think, oh, it's just a two-parter episode. It's like, well, yeah, but those two-parter episodes were really cinematic. That's why they decided to make a movie.
Yeah.
Give it a bit more money, put a bit more.
How could you be like, this movie is just like the show? Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah. The show was really popular, so they made a movie out of it.
Yeah, I think back then though, if I ever did movies of series, it was almost something separate. Do you know what I mean? You didn't really have movies that bled back into series.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, I mean, the
I would say that
really was the Star Trek movies, but they all came after the series.
Yeah,
so.
That's what I mean. But they're all they could be separate. Do you know what I mean?
It was.
I can't think of a single movie.
They were damned really because they knew the series had to carry on beyond the movie.
Yeah.
Wait, Nick can't think of a what that who?
I can't think of another TV series that has a movie dropped in the middle of the series that continues on.
Oh, that continues.
Well, I said there was South Park, but of course South Park's all self-contained episodes.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, there's Marvel and Star Wars now. They do it all the time, don't
they? Yeah, that's true.
Right, but there's no like, those are all still confined. Like, the Clone Wars series is confined to Clone Wars. There are incidents that are related to one another.
But if you watch the new Marvel films, a lot of them are, especially the ones that are coming out soon, they're all all the situation in them is going to be because of what happened in the series. So if you didn't, I mean, it was shit anyway, but the Doctor Strange movie continues off the what's it series? WandaVision series, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well, also Loki, right? Because that's where
you
see the bad guy again.
Yeah. Although I haven't watched many of the new Marvel.
Can we agree that
before we end the show at any time, because
I thought we were supposed
we got so much to talk about still, I'm sure. But which line has been repeated the most in all the way through the X-Files? Let's see who can think of which line. What do you?
I'm a medical doctor.
I'm going to start with Nick first. What do you reckon that line would be?
I'm a medical doctor. I'm a doctor. I'm a medical doctor. My name's Jim.
Damn it, Jim. I'm a doctor, not a surgeon. What about you, Ben?
I want to believe.
Oh, I want to believe.
Yeah,
that's the one you see
if they
down.
actually really said that, though, did he?
There's a few episodes where they kind of play with it. Like, oh,
no, he
you
says
believe in this. Why don't you believe in that?
Right,
yeah, is it shut up, Mulder?
Do you believe in love after love?
Shut up. Aliens don't exist.
I did see an outtake of Gillian Anderson the other day where he says, Scully, no, she's Mulder. What is it, Scully? And she just goes, suck my dick. I just found it to play.
Brilliant.
All right, Buddha, what do you reckon?
The one that actually I've noticed a lot this time around is they kept saying, that is such BS. Because they couldn't swear on network television back then. So they said that a lot. Oh,
Okay.
total BS.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I reckon I've got the line. I've got the line. Are you ready for this? Drum roll, please, everybody. They're trying to shut down the X-Files.
They're trying to shut down the X-Files. I should have guessed that.
Yeah. I mean, they released
every
They say that as much
every
Scully
damn
says she's a
season.
doctor.
Every season.
Yeah.
What did,
every season, if not
Every episode, they shut down the X-Files, just like Kenny getting killed.
How many times? This is it. How many times did they shut down the X-Files during the initial 9 seasons?
Well, twice, because they shut it down. I think in the second season it's shut down and they've gone rogue.
3 times.
And then it's shut down during the first film as well. So It happens at least twice, possibly more in the later ones.
Nick, did you just say 3 times?
Well, it depends
Nick's
on
got
what
the
you define as
encyclopedia
the X-Files being shut down. Do you count it as the X-Files is not conducting investigations, or is it the X-Files is not manned by Scully and Mulder or either of them?
Yeah, but like, okay, so that means like the Doggett and oh god, what's her name?
Something Latin.
Doggett and Ray's episode.
So
that's what I said. Something Latin.
Yeah, Doggett and Ray's. Yeah.
What did people think of the Revive series?
I'm trying to find how many times she actually says "I'm a doctor."
What, the one with the liquid metal man in it?
No, the one they made in like 2015 when they're both 60.
It couldn't have had much of an impact because I don't remember anything about it, and for a moment I forgot it existed.
No, I liked it. I liked it.
Good?
There were a couple of good episodes. There's there's an Australian comedian, and I can't remember his name. And he plays an alien.
Oh right.
Jim Jeffries, is that?
It could be. I'll have to Google. What are you saying, Jim? What?
Jim Jeffries is the only Australian comedian that works in the US.
I'll tell you what. I'll just Google Australian comedian X-Files. There you go.
Or Tim Minchin.
No.
So the aliens were manipulating DNA, and they messed with Scully's fetus. And why? Why to do a virus? What was the?
Well, it's the aliens in conjunction with the government. The government knows about it all.
What are they trying to do?
They're experimenting on us because they intend to invade and take over the human race via the black goo. And this is all going to happen, folks. This is the big reveal on December the 22nd, 2012. So why
everybody remembers 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar.
Christmas 2012. So why in the Revive series, which came out in 2015, this was never mentioned? I don't know, but
why didn't it?
That was my issue with the Revive series, is that it felt like the Mulder and Scully episode, their story was over, and possibly my issue with the second film as well. Like if they had revived the series, I would have preferred it if they took much more of the Next Generation tact. It had been about a couple of new younger characters taking over the X-Files, and have Mulder and Scully in there if you wanted, but they should have been much more like they
young FBI agent named Wolf Collins, and his scientist partner who doesn't believe in aliens.
No. Wolf Collins doesn't believe. It's
Wolf
the scientific
Collins.
partner who does. That's the twist this time around.
I'm gonna.
God damn it! When they had fucking Diane Fowley
Nick,
and fucking what?
Nick, for next week's show, me and you have both got to draw a picture of Wolf Collins.
Deal. Well, they did. They fucking flipped it around when they had fucking Agent Spender and fucking Diane Fowley on the X-Files. And I fucking hate Diane. I fucking hate her. It's like Mulder's fucking girlfriend who believes in the paranormal, and she comes back and she's got this crooked mouth. And fucking, she's so condescending and annoying. She just walks into the X-Files office and she's like, I believe in the supernatural, Fox. And she's the only person who calls him Fox, and it's so fucking belittling. And fucking Spender doesn't believe in the X-Files at all. He's just there to shit on it. And fucking, there's an episode where they go and fucking, they're in the fucking, like, Arizona, and, like, an alien hybrid escapes, like, this fucking, this plant because it fucking basically impregnated somebody and blew out of his fucking stomach, like, fucking alien. And this thing's on the loose, and they bring back that psychic kid who was like a really good chess player, but he wasn't a good chess player. He was good at reading people's
He was just psychic, I remember.
Yeah.
And it's like I could be a chess player too if I was psychic.
Yeah. His name is Ray's. What's his first name? I can't remember. But anyway, fucking Fowley and fucking Spender are on the X-Files during that episode, and Scully and Mulder are there on their own accord. And fucking like they show up at this scene where this murder has occurred, and fucking Fowley and Spender are just like, "You're not authorized to be here." Fucking Mulder's like, I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna punch you right in the mouth because you have no idea but he doesn't.
This is like such a huge trope in fiction of different authorities disputing jurisdiction for a case, right? Like higher ups coming and kicking people off of cases, and you see this all the time in fiction. And
what are you doing here? You're on suspension. Get out of here.
Well, I mean, one of the great things about the X-Files is, at its heart, it's a police procedural. It's a mystery series, and it takes that element very, very seriously. It feels well researched. This feels like a realistic world, and because it takes itself so seriously, it can get away with goofy plots about vampires and werewolves and little grey men.
Yeah.
It's Silence of the Lambs was a big influence, I think, on the X-Files. There's like a morbid curiosity thing to
fucking oh god, I'm gonna fuck this up, but it was Scully's character was based off of the FBI.
Clary Starling.
Yes.
Yeah, very much so. You can see that, you can feel it, and lots of serial killers.
Yeah, they did a Hannibal series, didn't they? And it was basically the X-Files. He solved the problem of the incredibly fucking vicious murders, elaborate like artistic murders, and he would solve the issue and then just eat them.
Yeah.
If it was for breakfast, would that make them serial killers?
Yes.
And with that, it's been a wonderful show. Put that on the bad joke. Put that on the fucking bad joke board.
He is the bad joke board.
Bad joke, it's time to end. Yeah, every serial killer in Hannibal was like these conceptual artists, weren't they?
Yeah,
they always like dismember the bodies, but arrange them in some really elaborate.
Yeah, someone arranged them into an eye. Someone was making fucking string instruments out of people.
Yeah,
like, can't you just? What happened to a bloke with the hammer?
Yeah, murder is vicious and horrible and gross.
Yeah, vicious and messy and fucking.
There's lots of classical music playing all over.
Yeah.
Somebody making.
Bye, Nick.
Close this shit down.
Murder for the upper class. Okay. I'm ending it.
Simpsons X-Files.
What is that?
If you've
fucking god!
If you've not seen the Simpsons X-Files episode, go and watch it tonight. It is freaking hilarious. It is so funny.
Goodbye.
As we've just seen, drugs make your problems go away. So make it the best day possible. Remember, it's drugs that counts. Take one and take a chance.
Saturday morning cartoons, mostly conjecture based on little knowledge.